I'm Amber Royer, author of the Bean to Bar Mysteries, and today I'm going to be reading to you from the 8th book, Vanishing Into the 100% Dark. And in it, I've taken my characters who normally are at the chocolate shop in Galveston, and Felicity has gotten an opportunity to present at a chocolate festival in Tokyo. So they've arrived, and this takes place in the second chapter, right when they've gotten to the festival. Ash is a vlogger, and he started out the series as kind of Felicity's nemesis, but now they're friends, and she's there with a number of her friends. On the counter next to the box Ash is unpacking, there's a stack of books. I start to feel a vague sense of unease down in the pit of my stomach. What's that? Ash bites his bottom lip and tries to hold back a grin. He looks like he's trying to respect the fact that I'm probably going to freak out, while at the same time trying to hide that he's excited. He says, they've been coming all morning. Apparently one of the local universities has a detective fiction club. I can already see where this is going, and I don't like it. I find I'm hugging myself with my arms crossed over my chest. Every time a vintage book falls into my life, there happens to be a murder that follows, and I get sucked into investigating. Ordinarily, I'm not a superstitious person, but this has happened to me 7 times. Count it. 7 times I found a book or had one handed to me, and the book's in some way connected to 7 cases I've helped solve. I get that the universe is trying to tell me something. I scowl at Ash. Don't look so excited. How will you feel if someone really does die? Horrified, obviously, Ash says. But it's cool to know that you have international fans, and that by extension, I have international fans. Ash has a true crime podcast. So far, it has only featured cases I've been involved in. I've appeared on the show, begrudgingly, but Ash is right. It's startling to know that people are listening to what Ash has to say about me this far around the world. Instead of coming here for Pierre Hermé, or more locally, Palais d'Or or Caramel et Cacao, there are a few people here specifically hoping to meet me. Of course, I wish it was for the renown of my chocolate rather than my status as an amateur detective. Ash adds, the club members have given me some great sound bites for the podcast. There's actually been some interest from a movie studio on doing a docudrama about Emma Turner. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I still feel sad when I think about Emma. She had been one of the first people I had hired at Greetings and Felicitations, right when I had opened my Bean to Bar chocolate business. She had been murdered at the grand opening party. I wish I'd been able to get to know the real her, to reach out somehow to help her before it had been too late. I tell Ash, if you can get her family's permission, I'm okay with it, although I'll probably come off looking like an idiot since I had never investigated anything before and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't make you sound like an idiot in the podcast, Ash protests. And if I'm being honest, you did better than a lot of people would have. You faced off against Emma's killer and survived. That is true. It had been a big turning point in my life, a wake-up call that I needed to reclaim my future after having lost everything. I've been living my entire life in the memory of someone who wasn't there anymore. Kevin and I used to love to travel. I even have a collection of maps I keep in a special box of all the places I've been. We had dreamed of traveling together to buy cacao beans and make our own chocolate once he retired, but his accident meant that never happened. So I made it my dream, and slowly I'd shared that dream with Logan, making him my partner in my business and now in my life. I've come so far since that day when I thought I was going to die that it's hard to remember how that had felt, and how it had felt to be so lost. I gesture vaguely at the books. Do something with those. I haven't touched them, so it doesn't count. Of course, I don't know that. I can't even prove the books have anything to do with me getting involved in crime. It could, in theory, be one huge, cosmically improbable coincidence. But I have to believe that I have at least some small element of choice here. All of them? Ash protests. He glances down. I let my gaze follow, and there on a chair behind him is another stack of books. A girl steps up to the booth and leans a small pink teddy bear against the books, then gives me a deep nod. She then brings her hands up to her mouth and giggles as she moves away. I realize there are already a few small trinkets beside the books, making it look like some kind of memorial. There's a magnifying glass, and under it a handwritten note that says, "Thank you for loving mystery books as much as we do." Clearly, something has been lost in translation. It is true that I have a number of mystery books on display at my shop, and it is true that I love to read voraciously in many genres. but at least half of the books I picked up that have gotten me involved in crimes have been mysteries. Honestly, I'm afraid of them. A woman wearing a business suit approaches the booth. She's maybe 30, with shoulder-length hair and bangs that almost touch her eyes. Her features are sharp, with thin lips painted with deep red lipstick. She's carrying multiple small shopping bags, so I guess she really has been enjoying the festival. Koerber-sensei, the woman says. I get that she's trying to say my last name, Koerber, but isn't sensei a word for teacher or coach? I tell her, yes, I'm Felicity Koerber. I gesture at my booth. I own greetings and felicitations. In heavily accented English, she says, I wanted to share this with you. She reaches into her purse, and before I can think to stop her, deposits a book into my hands. It's an old book, written in Japanese. Part of me wants to drop it and head immediately back to the airport, but I try to be polite. My hands are shaking as I try to give her the book back. I'm sorry, I don't read Japanese. She makes an X with her hands, a clear symbol for no. I heard you collect first editions. This is the first book by one of our most famous mystery authors, Yoko Mizo Seishi. It's technically not a first edition. The Honjin murders were serialized in a magazine in the 1940s before being published in this edition in the 1970s. My heart is beating fast, and I take a deep breath to steady myself. A first edition. This book might as well be radioactive. What's it about? I ask, sure I don't want to know. It's a meta take on the mystery genre, with mechanical tricks and a character who collects both Japanese and Western mystery literature. The narrator admits in an epilogue that he owes particular debt to Agatha Christie. It is a good example of the play of ideas back and forth between our cultures, as is mystery fiction in general, with so many influences we borrow from each other. She gestures at the book. I can find you an English translation, if that is good. Logan steps up to the woman and says, I'm Logan Hanlon, co-owner with Felicity of the Chocolate Shop. And you are? I'm Suzuki Now. I'm the faculty sponsor of the Detective Fiction Club that is bringing you all of their favorite books. I think Now is her given name, since Japanese names are traditionally presented with the family name first. Logan says, thank you for your generosity. Have you been enjoying the chocolate festival? He sidetracks her into looking at our bars of chocolate. I sigh. I already have a book in my hands. I might as well look at the rest of them. I step around the counter inside the booth space and peruse the titles. Some are in Japanese, some are clearly translation of work by Japanese author. The Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Hagashino. The Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayutsuji. Inspector Imanishi Investigates by Seicho Matsumoto. It's a window into a whole field of literature I never realized existed. I'm intrigued by the covers, and in less ominous circumstances, I might be excited to read them. There are a few works here that were always in English, by Christie and Doyle and Dorothy Sayers. I guess this group really likes the classics. I look up to ask Nell why she brought all this to me, or to warn her that she might be in danger since now there's a connection between her and the book, but she's already gone. Which feels like a huge disconnect. How could she give me a potential murder book and then disappear? Logan says gently, you can call her later if you want. She gave me her card. I think I need some air, I say. I'm pretty sure the map said the place has a rooftop garden. I'll come with you, Logan says. He arches an eyebrow at Ash. You can handle the booth, right? Ash laughs. I might as well become an honorary employee. I've spent enough time researching your business practices. Mostly this means coming by the shop and talking Carmen into giving him free pastries. Logan looks at me and says, are you sure we should leave him alone with the samples?